Hey everybody, welcome to today's video. Today we're going to be doing a new series called The Muskie Rant. Today's topic is going to be on, have we gone too far with muskie fishing? What I mean by that is, are our rods too long? Are our lures too big? And are we spending too much on tackle? First things first, I want to talk about our rod length, because I want to know truly, do you need a rod that's over 9.5 feet long? Like, in my opinion, a 10-foot rod, like these new 10-foot St. Croix rods and the new custom Thorn Brother rods, I don't think have a time and place in muskie fishing. I know that's a very controversial thing to say, but I think there's a certain point at that 9'6" range where it's just too big. Because, you know, a 10-foot rod, I mean, well, I was at the muskie shop recently and I just picked one up and held it. I think the handle was probably 2 feet long, just the handle. That sounds pretty extreme considering that our rods used to only be 6.5 feet long for muskie fishing, and less. My grandpa used a 4-foot 11-inch muskie rod. Think about that. And, you know, is there a time and place for really short rods like 7-foot rods? In fact, just yesterday I bought a 7-foot medium heavy muskie rod. And after testing it, I really like it. But I know there's a very specific time and place for that rod. And I'm not going to be throwing double 10s, big rubber baits like Medusas and Bulldogs, Poseidons. It's a very, comes down to what lures I'm throwing and what time of year I'm going to be throwing them. Because I was mainly planning on using that rod for things such as small, like 6-inch Joe Bucher Outdoors Depth Raiders, the Muskie Slayer by Hooked on Muskie Baits. I actually make that bait. I definitely had that in mind. And some very, very small, specific kinds of rubber baits like mini Medusas and maybe regular Bulldogs. Maybe, when I say that, but it's just, do we need 10-foot muskie rods? You guys can make fun of me all you want in the comments because, you know, I just don't think there's a time or place for a 10-foot muskie rod. And like, imagine, for example, a 10-foot medium heavy muskie rod. There is never, what are you gonna do with that? That thing's just a floppy little flimsy, crazy, weird thing. It's never gonna work for big muskie baits. Like, what do you throw with a 10-foot medium heavy muskie rod? Like, really, honestly, you know, I mean, I guess a 10-foot muskie rod might have, if you got like a triple extra heavy for throwing like insane minimum 13-14 ounce baits. But I mean, muskie rods aren't even really that big anymore. So I don't really even know what people are gonna, I don't know why, like, for example, Doug Wagner uses 10-foot muskie rods. I just think it's too extreme. Then I'd like to touch on our bait size. Do you need a 1-pound lure? I just don't think you need to throw pounders and that kind of stuff. This is where I do think there's a time and place for pounders, 13-inch crankbaits, that kind of stuff. but there's a very specific, there's a short window of time to use those baits. And last but not least, are you paying too much for your gear? Like with St. Croix and Thorne Brothers, this is mainly, I'm not attacking anyone, but mainly just with St. Croix's Legend Elite series of musky rods. Those are $580 rods. They're just expensive. Most anglers can't afford that. Then you have the Shimano Tranx 500. It's a $500 reel. And then you have the Shimano Calcutta Conquest, which is incredible reel, but it's $580. And it's just a little round reel. There's nothing insanely special about it, but it's just insanely expensive. But, obviously I'm just kind of talking to the camera here. It's, I don't know who's going to hear this, but mainly, do you need expensive musky rods and reels in the first place? Like, everything is expensive. You can barely, a cheap, 400 size musky reel nowadays is $250. That's a lot of money. And a lot of money that you can spend on a lot of different things. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this little rant I did here. And, keep fishing, stay tuned, and have a great day. We also do have some more fishing videos coming out soon. I've been doing a lot of late ice fishing, so make sure you stay tuned and watch those videos.